So I'm just curious about how you came to this subject matter, Leah. I mean, what brought you?
Gosh, well, I was in Rwanda with Chris Toohey, who also filmed Blackfish, which I'm sure you guys know about as well, that premiered at Sundance this year. And Chris and Todd and I actually worked together quite a bit on many projects. And Chris and I, before I met Todd, were in Rwanda on another project. We travel all over the world, and everywhere we go, we try and hire some local crew. And so we did that in Rwanda. And the last day we were there, we were on our way to the airport, and we were at Bourbon Coffee, and we're like, so what else do you guys do? Do you work around here? And they told us about Hillywood because they were part of the team. And so they told us about this idea, you know, where 5,000 people show up with no shoes on, who've never seen a movie before, to watch movies for the first time in their own language. And we were hooked. You know, we went back to Seattle, and we're still thinking about the idea, you know, a couple months later, and that was a sign to me that we should really try and make a film about this.
We were holding our workshops in Rwanda. Almost everybody who attended the workshops really had no idea about how to make movies. And one of the things that we had to do, myself and all of the Academy delegates had to do, was really change the way that we spoke about movie making, because the participants didn't really have a vocabulary, a cinematic vocabulary. So what we ended up talking about was storytelling, and that was kind of a way to reach the participants that we were talking to.
And most definitely, there's so many stories to tell. They're, like they said themselves. I mean, we really wanted to give the filmmakers a voice, which is why you won't see any Caucasians in this movie. We don't have a narrator, you know, and that was a conscious decision because we really felt like in order for them, you know, we had to practice what we preach. If we're going to make a film about filmmakers telling their own stories, then we needed to allow them to tell their own stories. And there's many, many more. We happened to profile these people for specific reasons, but we were just back in July showing the film at the festival there, and you know, we're introduced to a whole slew of other filmmakers, in particular female filmmakers who are up and coming, and a couple who are doing really well and who we want to support long term. So we're excited about that.
Very good. And Todd, your work, your beautiful graphic work and animation happened, I imagine happened after you finished making the movie, and was a really great way of sort of linking all the various pieces together. Can you just tell me how
we wanted to do something,
why you made that decision?
We wanted to do something germane to the filmmaking process. And when we were on the ground there, the first thing we all did, and they did, you know, when you go to tell a story in film, is you bring out the pad of paper and you start drawing a picture and sequence your scenes. And you know, there are many sections where we needed bridges in the film that it would have been easy to go to the archive and pull out, you know, the footage of the genocide that everyone's seen a million times, and I really had a strong feeling about not doing that, and wanted to tell the history and give it justice, but also, you know, not dwell on those images, and maybe come up with something more powerful by showing less.
We approached BPeace, the Business Council for Peace, who's based in New York, about a year ago, because one of our goals since the beginning of this project was to really help the filmmakers find work, so that they can sustain their careers. There's plenty of organizations that continue to go into Rwanda and write a check or donate a camera, or you show them how to use a camera, but then they leave. And we really wanted to create something that would outlast our film and help them find work. So we partnered with BPeace and the Academy of Motion Pictures to create a website called rwandafilm.org. We have stickers outside, and I urge all of you to check it out. It's really incredible, and BPeace has done such an amazing job leading the charge on this website. And it's really like a LinkedIn for East African filmmakers. Right now it's mainly Rwandan filmmakers, but I have a feeling it's gonna spread. But we don't want to run it from across the world. We want it to be run locally, and so we are looking for support to do that.
So you had several different narrators in the film, and I know that you kind of do a summation about where they are today. But is that where they are today? Are those folks still? Is there an update on the lives of some of the people
Update.
that we
July update.
July update. We screened, when we were there in July, we went to the countryside and screened the films. And also, there is a new theater in Kigali now. It's state-of-the-art theater, which it's pretty interesting to go to a theater in Kigali where people don't really know how to go to a movie. I mean, people are on their phones the whole time, and they show up a half hour late and leave a half hour early, and it's very funny. But both Richmond and Rodrigue walked into the movie and sat down behind us, and for us to listen to Rodrigue sitting behind us crying through the whole movie. He was extremely emotional about it. He's an emotional guy anyway, but he had just gotten married the day before. Richmond was, at the time we were filming with him, he was an editor at a pop magazine, and that has since ended, and now he is a full-time filmmaker, which was really nice. He's sustaining himself as a filmmaker. He just directed a documentary.
For me, it was really again, getting back to this point, it was really fascinating being there and working with a group of people who don't go to movies every day. I mean, I think we take that for granted of having this. It's in our lives. It's something that we do, and it's just something. It's part of what we do. But it was fascinating for me to be surrounded by a group of people who were appreciative of the fact that we were there, but they really had no sense of that we were these accomplished filmmakers. But we were there to share our ideas and our thoughts, and to share our approach to making movies with all of them. So there was no vocabulary there, and there's no tradition of going to the movies.
Film economy, as they like to call it now, is getting quite competitive. And there's something called the African Digital Media Academy that is pretty incredible. They have state-of-the-art equipment. They are teaching people how to do really technical post-production skills like rotoscoping, and these guys are making films.
They're also focusing on story first.
Focusing on story, and they're building a little green screen studio, which has never been done in Rwanda, and they're definitely a group to watch in the next couple of years. They're doing some amazing work.
It's quickly become savvy. We spent 2 days teaching workshops with 8 women who totally got it. They cranked out a movie for their closing ceremony in the 2 days that we spent with them.
And I think that was our emphasis there when we were there as well. I mean, finally, when we realized that we couldn't talk about camera angles or editing techniques, we really there was a discussion amongst the Academy members about how do you solve this problem? How do you talk about films? And again, finally, we came back to the idea that what we had to do was to really talk about storytelling. Where do you get the stories from? Do you get it from your parents? Do you get it from folk tales? So it really trying to get people to understand how important storytelling was as a foundation for making films.